What up guys, it's Griff the Wiz here. Welcome back to another video. I'm going to be showing you guys the strengths and weaknesses of each school, which school you should pick if you're starting off, and stuff like that, you know. So let's get up, let's quickly do it, because it's going to take forever if I list everything, you know what I'm saying. So, schools are Fire, Ice, Storm, Myth, Life, Death, Balance. Yeah, did I get them all? Yeah, okay, I did get them all. So we're going to be starting from, like, the circle of each, like, so it's going to be Storm, Ice, Fire, Death, Myth, Life, Balance. So, let's start with Storm. Storm is extremely powerful, and it's extremely powerful to start out with. It gives you such a heavy, like, advantage, because you're able to farm almost anything right off the bat. It's extremely helpful school to start out with. I strongly recommend it if you want to start with the school. It's going to be kind of frustrating because it has a high fizzle chance, if you know what that is. And it's basically when, like, sometimes just, like, your spells will just fail. But it does do a lot of damage, and it packs a hefty punch. And after you get your few entry-level sets of gear, it's so strong to quest with, and you quest so fast. You get the highest damage in the game. Well, I mean, late game, it's pretty much tied with Fire. But you get very high critical as well, which, like, doubles your damage. But, yeah, Storm is pretty much the best offense school. 100, like past 100, hands down, pretty much. So yeah, I strongly recommend Storm if you want to be the glass cannon sort of type. But yeah, if you want to pick Ice, Ice is very good. It's known for being very good at PvP and being very tanky, but believe it or not, it's actually decent at solo questing because it's very like, I don't know, it's kind of a mix because it's okay at PvE because it doesn't die, and it also does an okay amount of damage if you blade up enough. It just takes a while to quest with it, and its PvP strengths are insane. Like, if you create this and you know what you're doing, late game you'll be able to get a very high rank in PvP just playing with Ice. Ice is a very powerful school. I strongly recommend it if you really like that style of just having really high health. But I warn you, they do not have sustain. They only have high health, so and resistance, I mean. So yeah, if you want to be tanky while also being able to heal, there's other schools for that. And here's the School of Fire, which is my personal favorite. As you can see, I'm max level with my fire. Let me get my best set on real quick. Yeah, so Fire is a very strong school in many respects, mostly because it's sort of like a less glass, like a tempered glass cannon. It's very powerful, good at solo questing, has a lot of powerful spells, is very good in PvP. Probably like the top 4 schools in PvP. If you think you want to have a good PvE starting character, be able to somewhat PvP pretty well, stuff like that, this is your kind of school. It's kind of like, it's not really a jack of all trades, but it's pretty close to it, I guess. I don't know why. I just think it gets very high stats as well at the highest level. So yeah, I strongly recommend you pick Fire if you're interested in that. Now, Death is okay. I strongly recommend you don't pick it if you're just starting out, mostly because you have to worry about not having a hit all till level 48. Hit alls are extremely important in this game, by the way. It pretty much completely determines how fast you quest in this game. Now, granted, Death almost doesn't ever die later on, and it's very strong at solo questing past 48. But before then, it's very slow, and it's kind of annoying. But even late game, it's very good at 2v2s and stuff like that. You can make it into a tank if you want to. But yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, and then here's the School of Myth over here. And the School of Myth is also very good. It's very similar to Fire. It's almost, honestly, I like to consider Fire and Myth almost the exact same school. It's just obviously they have their unique spells and their, like, niches. People know Fire for having damage over time, but believe it or not, Fire's damage over time does not actually affect much of their play style, and they'd rarely use it in PvE. But Myth is based on minions and stuff like that. Minions are, again, something that's like niche and like a lot of other schools have, so it's not like really like a thing that makes them unique or sets them apart. But Myth is very strong, trust me. Myth is extremely strong. If you don't think you like the whole fire element, or you want to do different things, or maybe you want to make it for PvP, because it's also very strong at PvP at low levels. Like levels 1 through 60, it's very good at PvP. And yeah, Myth is a great school to pick if you're into that kind of thing, especially if you like having the minion idea, because minions are sufficient to spawn in PvP a lot of the time. Next up, we have Life, which I strongly recommend you don't start out with as well, because unless you get the pet called the Kookaburra, which I'll show in another video, in my pet video, if you keep watching, I will present like the best way to, if you really want to start Life, if you really want to be that healer, and you want to solo quest your way through, there's a way to do it. I mean, I did it on my Life, and it wasn't that slow. It just, you have to be patient, you know, and you won't, and trust me, if you know how to heal, you won't ever die in PvE. But yeah, Life can be a decent person to solo quest on, just because they don't die. They're just kind of slow later on, and you don't get a very sufficient hit all to level 58, which really sucks, by the way, because level 58 takes a while to get to if you're in your first run of the game. But yeah, Life is very strong, but I recommend you pick it if you want to do like healing and stuff like that later on. If you're that type of guy, then yeah, that's your school to pick. My Balance is the sort of the jack of all trades of this game, but the thing is the jack that it's traded, and I don't know how you say it, but like the things that it's in, like that it's like moderate at, it's sometimes only mediocre at. Like, for example, later on, whenever you run into balance bosses, there's nothing you can really do against them, simply because because you have no balance prism, so you'll often find yourself having to blade up and wait like so long to kill a boss. This is also a very strong PvP school. This is like the top 2 PvP school, which is Ice and Balance. They kind of just tie, in my opinion. I don't really know. I think I'd call Ice better though, but that's really biased. Yeah, Balance and Ice are very strong if you want to pick like a tanky school, because this is a somewhat tanky school. It's more tanky than Fire, while also having a heal and a hit all. But it doesn't all. I also don't think it has any overtimes. If you like that as well, it doesn't have any overtime spells. But yeah, I think that's about it. It's hard to really explain Balance, but it's really like if you want to find something that's like sort of a jack of all trades or something like that, that's kind of your type of school. But it's not very, I don't know. It also is the god of buffs, which is like buffing up your hitter, so it does with a lot more damage. If you want to be that type of guy that balances your school. And keep in mind, all these schools that I've been telling you guys about is totally fine to pick. All of them are good. But the only ones that I strongly recommend you don't pick first is probably Death is probably terrible to start out with, just because there's no real like alternative. What else should I not start out with? Life might not be a good idea, but if you really want to be a healer, it's totally fine. But yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments. I'll make sure I'm quick to answer them as soon as I can. I'm gonna be streaming a lot, so check out my Twitch, Griff the Wiz, and make sure you go follow my Twitter, at Gryffindor3. Yeah, thank you all for watching so much. Ask any questions you have in the comments. See you guys in the next video. Peace.